Hello, everyone. Good evening and welcome to your Sunday Tonic conversation with a love crusader. It is our last Sunday of the month edition, and it's there for our Q&A edition. We didn't edit the name anyways. As you can obviously see, we are both on the same place, in the same room. So we're all coming from one screen to you today. And if you're coming across this platform for the first time, it's called Conversation with the Love Crusader. It's a platform where we talk about love, we talk about life, we talk about relationships, all in a fun way. It's also live on YouTube at Men Fences TV, on Facebook at Men Fences, and on Instagram at menfences_love. You can also find us on TikTok at menfences_love. All right. It is Love and Question Sunday. It is the Sunday where we discuss your questions that have come to us either through our WhatsApp number on Facebook or through conversations we've had with you in the course of the month. And there's one big question here, which I know will develop lots of branches. So I really want us to give time to this question. And as usual, you're welcome to comment and give your opinion about the question. And if you have any question, we always say, ask your question, send it to us on Facebook, on our WhatsApp number, and it will come directly to me. I'm not alone today. My co-host is here, Titi Lyle.
Hi guys, it's good to be here again.
Okay. We don't know if Emmanuel can make it, but if not, yeah, it will be an all-girls day. And the topic is an all-girls topic. So we would really like the guys to come and help us, because actually this question was asked by a guy, but it is about the women. So it's Love and Question Sunday. Please share this, share the video, tell your friends about this platform. If you've learned anything, if we've helped you in any way, we would really like your feedback, as it will help us even as we begin to plan for 2024 next year. What is the topic that stood out for you, or what is the one thing you may have learned, through the year 2023? We've come here with lots of program. We brought lots of people, who've come tell us their love stories, on the love seat. So what have you learned? What is one thing or two things you can remember that you would share with us as some form of feedback? Okay, so let's try to go into the question. So this person sent us a question saying that he believes divorce is on the rise in our generation because women have become more independent and educated. So that during the time of our parents, these things that we complain about women complain about men, and he hits me, the man did this or the man did that. Whatever the complaints were complaining now have always been there. That they've always been there, but our mothers were able to bear and still stay in the marriage. But that now our generation, these younger women, we are no longer patient because we are educated and we have become too independent. So yeah, what do you have to say to that? That's the question on ground. So I actually asked him, is this a question or you are just telling me something? Because the way it came across as a comment, but then he said it's a question that, don't I think that this actually is true? That is what he thinks is the problem why we have increase in divorce. He went ahead to say a lot of things about how women are no longer wanting to do domestic roles. They now want to share it with men. that in those days you hardly ever, how would the woman even put her mouth and tell the husband to come and wash dishes, or things like that. So I think those are all part of the education and the independence that he's talking about, and he feels that this is the so women are to blame for the rise in divorce rate. Do you agree? I'm going to put the survey out there. I'm putting the question out there. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Talk to us. What's your opinion? Oh yeah, Titi, start your own opinion. Let's start with Titi's opinion.
I'm looking at these questions on a lot of levels.
Yep.
Like, I'm looking at it from the point of the fact that, well, he's not altogether wrong. He's not altogether wrong.
Okay.
Because so the question now isn't that the question. The question is not even the fact that divorce is on the increase because of women's independence and education. The question is the why. Why is it happening? Why is there why is there so much? It's like there's an increase in knowledge and it's affecting divorce rates, is causing an increase in divorce rates. So why is that happening? That's actually the question. Because if you say education and independence is causing a rise in divorce rate, we can't really fault that. We can't really say it is not true, because education and independence of women has contributed to the increase in divorce rate. But the question is, why? Is it a good thing? There's something wrong in between somewhere that needs to be corrected. The reason why I say so is because of the fact that women are becoming more enlightened, and it's kind of funny because most times when people use our parents to compare with us, you are saying that they were kind of ignorant. They were not aware. They didn't understand so much about what was going on with them. They knew something was wrong, but they didn't know what it was. Those of them that knew something that was wrong, that knew what it was, they didn't have a solution. They didn't even think that a solution was inside. They felt that is their cross to bear. And when you say our mothers, our parents, they were able to bear these things as if they just I think they just accepted it. They were just, because there was no solution. There was no way out. They felt there was no way out for them.
Okay.
So it's a whole lot, really. But if on the plain side, just surface level, if you say education and independence has contributed to divorce rates, I'll say yes, because women are becoming more aware. They know what they want now. They realize that there's a solution. They realize that they can no longer continue in bondage. Yes, is everything all set, all together? No. It's not all, it's like two ends of the extreme. So, but the issue is still that yes, education and independence has contributed to the increase, because people are becoming more aware. The things that our mothers took, the women of today may not take it. So that's not even the issue. The issue is that right? Is that the right thing? I'll say yes. My answer is yes.
Is Titi confusing us more?
It's not confusion, because if you're not aware of something, if you're not aware that something is hurting you, you continue to endure. If you're not aware that there is a solution, right? You continue to endure. You continue to accept it. But the moment you realize that there's a solution, right? The moment you realize that there's a way out, it's like a light bulb comes on in your head, and you're like, yes, and you pursue that solution. So if that now translates to there being an increase in divorce rate, it's just an unfortunate. It's an unfortunate, and there's a solution to that too. So for me, maybe I shouldn't jump the gun, but there's a solution to that. So to his question on the surface level, education and independence has contributed to increase in divorce rates. Yes, I would say, but I don't think is the women per se. Is the fact that the people that they are relating with have not been able to catch up
That's
with the lights that they've seen.
That's how I wanted to go to, because men are getting education as much as women are getting education, right?
Yeah.
And even in the times that this person is trying to refer to, saying our mothers, we didn't have so much gap in the men and women education. Even then, men were majorly farmers, shop owners. Very few really were that educated, even as men. And I think from my small young age, those men and families that were educated and quite exposed, I know an uncle who used to travel abroad when I was young. Even then, the way he used to run his marriage is different from, you understand, what was happening. So is it not education on both sides? Is it education on just the side of the woman? Or is it supposed to be, let me use the word, because this was where I kind of disagreed with this person. I know what you mean when you say yes, it contributes to it, because you act within the capacity of what you know.
Right.
And there are some of our mothers who died not knowing that they were abused. They didn't even know that what they were in is called abuse. That's why sometimes even in this generation, if a child maybe goes back home and say, my husband hits me, the mother will be saying, do you know how many times your father hits me? Did I leave? Is that enough for you to leave? Because even at that level, they didn't understand that this was abuse. Okay? But the question is, education, independence, is it not supposed to be happening on both ends? Are men not also getting more educated and more independent and more exposed? So can we say it's just because women are the ones who are educated and that's why? Or is it that also the men too now have come to know more of what they should do and not do, or what they should take and not take? That's what do you think? The balance I'm trying to find. I wish Emmanuel was here so I can tell us the men's angle. Yeah, because I want a man. He's coming though. I want a man to be able to tell us the men's perspective on this matter. How is it for the woman alone? How is it really for the woman? Is it really an education and independent thing for the woman alone? Is it not a thing of everybody, both men and women?
I agree with you that it's supposed to be education on both sides, but I look at it like this scenario, like if you and I'm not trying to paint a bad situation like the men are terrible. I'm not in that category, in that WhatsApp group that says that men are bad.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to say that sometimes if you've been in bondage for so long, and you now eventually find a way out, you don't have it all figured out yourself. You are still trying to find that balance, but you just realize that there's a way I should go that will lead me to the solution. I think that's the space where women find themselves now. They realize that there's a solution. They haven't totally figured it out yet. And I know that things are changing now. People are becoming even more enlightened. Even women, they are beginning to unlearn certain things. So this guy may be looking at it from that aspect of they become educated, they are more empowered now, and everything has gone down the drain. But I think that these things take time. We cannot blame education. We can't say because of that women shouldn't be educated or become independent. I think that the women too are still trying to find their way. They're still trying to find that balance. So yes, it's supposed to be on both sides, but that imbalance comes when only one aspect is beginning to draw closer towards a solution or trying to learn more about finding a solution, and the other aspect, of course, they seem to be the affected part, and it's like you're trying to take power in quotes away from them. Yeah.
I like the yay. Welcome, Emmanuel.
It's good to see you. special time. We've been waiting for you to come
Hello.
deliver us.
I wish I could. I'm so sorry. I had some things mixed up, so I'm very happy to be here.
Welcome.
Thank
Yeah.
So
you.
I'm just about posting the question so you can read it and see. The reason why Titi is quite excited to see you is because we really, really need the male perspective on this conversation. So here is a question for the day. This is a question for the day. I am not rushing it. I'm not going away from here. Let's talk about it. Someone has accused the women folk.
Hmm.
I'm not saying, I'm not joking. No, he didn't really accuse. Well, this person has postulated that education and independence of women is one of the reasons for increase in divorce rates. Where is this noise coming from? So we are asking, do you agree, first of all, that this is a contributory factor to the increase in divorce rates? If yes, why? We were on the second question, so you can really take your time to answer it well, which was that is the growth not supposed to be both sides? Is education and independence not happening to both men and women? Why is it now only the one of women that is causing increase in divorce rate? Or is this person saying, or is it a general thing on both ends? Oh yeah, give, carry and go.
It's a very wonderful question.
Yeah, go on.
And I will not lie, at some point in my life, I have contemplated these questions. So contemplating the question doesn't mean I agree with the position, but I have thought about it in a matter of trying to find cause for the effect. The effect being an increase in divorce rates, even among Christians. So why is this happening? I disagree, or I would say no to the question primarily. But there are some aspects to this question that we do have to admit have an impact. So the first part of education and independence, those two things in and of themselves are not necessarily triggers for divorce. They're not. Two people decide to divorce from each other, move from each other when they can no longer work together. Whether that's because this lack of agreement is coming from whatever it is, two people have disagreed or agreed that we can no longer agree. So we're going our separate ways. So we cannot take the burden of that decision and put it on one person. And we also cannot point the finger at, the fact that somebody's getting enlightened. In fact, this question would point a finger to maybe men feeling insecure and somewhat inferior in terms of. I'm sorry, you said you were. I can't hear you. I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Sorry, I was muted. I said I didn't want to be the one to say it. So thank God you are the one saying it. Because if I say it now that it's only insecure men that should be afraid of an educated and independent woman, they'll say, I have come. All right, continue, Emmanuel.
Well, maybe what the person, whoever made this comment, might be trying to allude to is that there are certain women that the fact that they are now educated and maybe have money. Money is important. Independence has a lot to do with money. So through that education, they now have financial independence, meaning they can do a lot of things without necessarily waiting on someone to dictate where they go and what they do. Maybe that in and of itself does have an effect in how the women see the men. You know how you say it now. Sometimes you can't really force a round peg into a square hole. If your spouse is evolving, and we've talked about this many times on this platform, if your spouse is evolving and you're remaining where you are, that is an opportunity for disagreement in that marriage. Because one person will be feeling like, oh, this person is going ahead with life without me. The other person might be feel like this person is pulling me down. This person isn't doing much with their life. And that's, underlying discontentment make even the basic things that you guys in the past may have enjoyed now become a problem. Good morning becomes a problem. Why did you say the good morning that way? It's just good morning. Even things that are not issues, because now it's almost as if you have two on equal yoke. So that I can understand it from that standpoint of creating that, will I say, rift among couples. But the fact that a woman is getting educated, improving herself, increasing herself, should only be a blessing to your marriage and to your home. It should not be grounds for issues if both parties handle that blessing the right way. The same way blessings can turn out to be problems. But if both of them handle the same way, both of them celebrate the growth, both of them adjust. We've talked about so many of these things on this platform, making the necessary adjustments. For example, if your spouse, because she is having this education and independence, she has so much going on for her, you need to adjust and adapt to certain responsibilities in the home in order for her to continue to excel and for the resources to continue to bless your home. But no, you push back on her and insist she must do certain things, even though you have the time and capacity to do those things. You see it as, no, I'm a man, I can't do this thing. But the situation is calling for adjustment, for us to shift, adapt to the new norm and make the most out of it. But oftentimes is resistance to this change and feeling like traditionally this is what you should do and that is what you should do.
Emmanuel, let me give you that. Let me give you that background, because you said traditionally. The part that we had the conversation that I had with this person, according to them, our mothers took a lot of things. They were able to bear. They were able to still stay in their marriages, despite that the things in his idea or his own research, whatever way he come up with it, conclusion, the behavior of men now is not different from what the fathers of those days used to do, but the women were able to still stay, they were able to still bear and still make the best of it. However, now we the independent. I don't want to add myself, because sometimes they will call me old. Sometimes, but I know I'm still a young chick, so even if I'm not a Gen Z, I know. Okay. But the women of these days, don't want to. We label the things. So before you know what is happening, this woman is talking divorce. That even in those days, the man is the one who will be begging. A woman will be begging, but now it's a woman that is even quick to say, I'll just, instances that he was using to say, women are becoming more educated and more independent. That is why they are now not able to, will I say, beer?
It's a very, very interesting analogy. It's like saying, oh, with all the advancements we have in medicine, do we have more cancers now because we have more diagnostic tools than we did before? Cancer is still cancer regardless. That's what's most important, and it still kills. So the fact that we are more aware of what it is now and we're pushing back and we're saying, we're challenging ourselves to say we can do better. Is that actually a problem? Can we come up higher? Can we do better? Is the challenge that enlightenment and education brings. Because if I know better and you're insisting on doing things the way it's always been, even if we know that is outdated, then it's not going to work. There's no going back. It's like eating the fruit in the garden. Your eyes are open. It is what it is. There's no going back.
So, in that sense, are you not agreeing with the statement to say that education and independence is part of it?
I said that it is the effect. It can be positive or it can be negative. So the negative part of it is where there are women, and we have to admit that there are those bad apples in society who, by reason of their education and by reason of their independence, have seen it as, well, I've been looking for an opportunity to get away. Now I have the capacity to do so. And that person must acknowledge that a lot of the women back in the day, it wasn't a case of they didn't want to. It was a case of they did not have the means or capacity to do so. A lot of them felt like, well, this is it for me. I just have to. I don't have a say. I don't have anywhere to go to. I don't have a way out, blah, blah, blah. So they kind of stayed not because they wanted to. However, if they had the same opportunities this generation of women have, do you think they would just sit with certain things and live with those conditions? I don't think so. So instead of looking at it from the perspective of, oh, you're now educated, you now have the means, why don't we look at it from the perspective of what is it that would make an educated, independent woman to want to seek her way away from you? Right? What is going on in the marriage that is making the person want to leave? Let's address that thing so that this educated, independent woman would feel secure in your love and, you know, feel validated in that marriage and continue to thrive. Education is how do you say, it's neither good nor bad. It's just education. It's what we do with it that matters. And yes, it does have its impact. Again, that's the truth. There are many, many women that they are now educated. They believe that they are now the man in the marriage, and they change. We cannot just say, oh, it is there. It is true. Unfortunately.
Okay. Let's talk about one thing and let's be realistic. I like to be very, very realistic. Is it really possible to become more educated, more enlightened, more exposed, and not to change? I'll give you an example. Some people believe that, and I'm not just talking in general now, I'm talking in general terms, that when people become more educated, they'll become a business bitch. I mean, I remember the last time I traveled home, this is me still pursuing a PhD. I've not gotten it yet. I'm still on it. And someone said, and she was surprised the way I was relating with all of them, that she thought that when she heard I was in PhD, she thought that I would not relate more. This is woman to woman. Is it in people's head, or is it true that education changes? That's my question. Do we really change because of education and change in circumstances? Do we change our character? Or the real person change? Or is it that the education brings out the real person? Which is the real? Start. Wait, let's answer this question.
I think it's I'll just put it out there now that whatever it is that is going to improve you, whatever it is that's going to make you a better person, pursue that thing. And I know that there are logistics around it. There's timing, there's affordability, there's your current situation. Probably you're married, you're raising children, you have to wait a bit. But by all means, if it's going to improve you, if it's going to make you better, continue to pursue that thing. Having said that, does education change people? Of course, that is the purpose of education. It is supposed to change you.
For good?
Yes.
Or for evil?
The question now is it changing you for good? You know, change is constant. So the reason why you are getting educated is to change, right? So the question is it changing for the better? Are you changing for the better? So that's why I was saying that the issue this guy raised is not really the issue.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not even the fact that education and independence is causing divorce. It's not, the equation is not straight.
It's not a parallel line.
It's not parallel.
Yes.
You know, it's the fact that is that imbalance in the marriage system that education and independence causes, that causes the divorce rate. Just like Emmanuel was explaining. it comes to a time where the educated one, the independent one, begins to see things differently.
Yeah.
Oh, we can do things better. Oh, there's a better way. We can go higher. You know, and you are there complacent. You are there like, no, all these people, all these enlightened people, they're just talking rubbish. They don't know what they are saying. And your mind is closed towards going better, going the better way, or improving or becoming better. Then they begin to drift apart. Yeah. That is what causes the divorce rate, increase in divorce rates. It is that imbalance that causes the increase, not education. And I dare to say that if it is on the part of the man, if it's the man that is becoming educated and independent, and the woman is lagging behind, at some point that rift will happen, and that's what causes the increase in divorce rates. You know, it's just that most times, if it's from the aspect of the man, it's a normal thing. You know, men are supposed to become enlightened, they're supposed to have more money, you know, but it's because it's from the aspect of the woman now, which is not something we are so familiar with. That's why it seems as if education is the devil, independence is the devil. No, these things are good tools for us, but it's because it's from the woman's end. The woman that would normally be silent and quiet and accept nonsense, you know, all of a sudden her eyes are opened. You know, and these things happen with some of the men folk. It's just that it's common, but we don't hear of it often. Right. There are men that have been on the quiet end, receiving nonsense from women. After a while, they go and seek knowledge. They know better. They get better. And they tell themselves, I can't continue to take this from this woman. Bam. You have to be better. And if the woman decides that she doesn't want to be better, he moves on. It's just that, again, it's like the tide is turning. That's why it seems as if women's independence and women's education is causing problems in marriage. Even if it is a man's education and independence, if the man chooses to know more, to improve himself and be better, it will affect the marriage space too.
Okay, now we're getting there. We're getting there because it's beginning to make sense to me. And that was why I said from the onset that I don't think it's a woman's thing alone.
No, it's not.
It's education is supposed to disrupt. Okay, let me say it like a researcher. Education is disruptive. Knowledge, learning, and I'm speaking now in my field as a training and development expert. Learning is supposed to be disruptive because you're supposed to learn and change. You're supposed to learn and do things differently. But if you don't, learning has not taken place. How do we know learning has taken place? We can't open the head and the brain to see what you've learned. But in the actions that follows,
when there's resistance to the learning,
good, that's what the problem is. So if one person is learning and then there's resistance to that learning from the other person, wahala has come, like you said. Yeah. Or one person is learning but the other person is not. So because sometimes two people go to sit down before a counselor, they go home, and I've had this kind of feedback from counseling sessions. One person is now trying to put what has been said to use. The other person is not. And then now there's also imbalance again.
Yeah.
It now looks like the counseling is the problem. No, the counseling is not the problem. It is the inability of one party to put the counseling to work, because whether we like it or not, and I think I have said this severally on this platform, it takes two to tango.
Yeah.
For a relationship to work, you both must be working at it. You both might not be bringing 50-50 every time, but you both must be working at it. There has to be that synergy. You're bringing your strength, I'm bringing my strength. You're bringing your weakness, I'm bringing my weakness. When you're weak, my strength is there. But when it's now one-sided, like Emmanuel was saying, resentment will definitely set in. You get to a stage where you begin to see this person, and I've heard it before. A woman said, look, this man is a setback. She divorced the man. She said the man was a setback to her. And these were not even educated people. But the woman was very sharp in business. She was making money. She set up companies for the man, opened a shop. The man couldn't run it. The business closed down. She set up another one. He will not even go there. He will leave workers to do anything they do anyhow with the place. Before you know, that one also closed down. It's okay, since you like sitting down at home so much, let me start a shop for you inside the house.
Wow.
So inside the house where the man was staying with the shop, rather than selling what he's supposed to be selling, he started sleeping with the girl that was living with them. Very nasty story. In the long run, this man said, he says, do you know how much I have put into trying to set this man up? And somebody will still may come back and say, but she knew he was not so rich or not so business savvy.
But that's
when
not
she
the
married
issue.
him. So I don't know, Emmanuel, help us now. Because Titi says not the issue. What is the issue?
It's well, first of all, I agree with Titi's comments. Her previous comments, those were fantastic comments. In terms of this one you've described, it still comes back to the same thing where we keep saying it again and again. We've hammered on it. Nobody remains the same, whether you're getting formal education or not. We all change. Our experiences continue to evolve, right? And as we're changing, we're learning of each other, we're growing, we're getting better. That's the ideal. But if this ideal challenges my foundational knowledge about life and marriage, that can be a problem. And it may be the reason why there are struggles. People have ingrained traditional mindsets and concepts about things that they just can't push it off or accept something new or see something new. In this example you gave of the couple and the whole issue, if there are many ways. I don't think what you've described is the ultimate end of a marriage. Maybe they could have done with a lot more help, a lot more work, and all that good stuff. We don't even know the mental health or whatever it is that's going on with respect to the man and all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, if one person is growing, is changing, is trying to get better, and the other person is pulling in the wrong direction, it's just a normal in terms of physics. One is pulling this way, the other is pulling that way. There'll be tension. It's just normal principle. And after a while, if that tension is not managed, tension will break and everybody will go their separate ways. It's just basic principle. So we should be growing together. We should be evolving together, or at the very least, our marriages should be healthy enough where they give space for people to be better, for people to grow, for people to pursue what they love, who they want to be. It shouldn't be so restrictive to where you must be like this because it's always been like that. It should give opportunity to challenge the status quo. Your marriage is unique. There is traditional, leave the traditional thing alone. Look at what will work for this marriage in this time, in this place, and in this season of our life. What do I need to do to make it work? And if we're all thinking in that direction, we'll be pulling one another up. We'll be pushing one another up, cheering one another when it's her season that she's flourishing. You'll be her cheerleader. When it's yours, she'll be a cheerleader. These are ideals. But when things are not managed properly, they can lead to tension. Doesn't mean education is a problem. I absolutely don't agree. There's nothing wrong with education or independence. These are tools. It's like somebody's telling me there's something wrong with money. Once you have so much money, your marriage will crumble. No, the mismanagement of money is the problem, right? So, yeah. So if you manage money properly, you would live a blissful life on earth. You'll be so happy you have it. But if you don't manage it well, oh boy. Yeah. Sorry, you're muted.
Thank you for having the money, sir. Relationship is more sweet when there's money. Anybody that say we pray, we fast, but money is also important. It's true now. Is it prayer that you used to pay for dates? Okay, man, I love this. You have to buy gifts.
Yeah.
Abby.
Yeah.
We have to do dates. We have to travel. We have to do vacation. Abby. And I like a good house. You have to live in a good house, Abby.
Yeah, sure.
But it's money, oh, money. There's money. Money is needed. Yeah. Money is important. Money is necessary. I totally agree with you. It's the management of the money and it's how we do it that can either make it a blessing or so. Education is not the problem. It's what we do with the education.
Another thing, one thing that came to my mind as Emmanuel was talking is the fact that back in the days, most people didn't really understand the purpose of marriage. In the times of our parents, for the woman just felt that the reason why she was going to marry was to serve a man, have children for him, Yes, have children for him, such that when she enters into the marriage space and she's not able to have children for him, something is wrong with her.
She has failed.
She has failed as a woman, So the purpose was get into marriage, have children, serve the man, raise children. And if you didn't meet up in any of those areas, your marriage has failed. You have failed as a woman. Just like the man too. The purpose of marriage was to, I don't know, Emmanuel, help me. What was the purpose of marriage? Was to have money.
I'm waiting for you to land. Land it. You must land that conversation.
Was to show that you are a man.
Yes. Which money? Continue better this way. I'm hearing my ears are open.
Once you get married as a man, you must be able to impregnate your wife and provide for your money, and that was it. You didn't have to do any other thing.
ATM.
It was the responsibility of the woman to raise the children. So you start hearing things like your children. See what your children are doing. That's what our fathers used to say, because they felt it wasn't their responsibility. See how your children turned out to be. But if it was a situation where they needed money to feed, to eat, or everything, the woman would say, "See your mates, see men," So that was the purpose of marriage was not fully understood. Nowadays, people are beginning to understand that marriage is much more than that. And for those of us that believe, we are beginning to understand that the purpose of marriage is beyond ourselves. It's more of a God thing. God has a higher purpose for marriage. And the more we pursue that purpose, the more aware we become. Right now, whether it's a man or it's a woman, the more aware you become, the more you want out of your marriage. Now, imagine a situation where you now find yourself with a spouse that hasn't caught that vision yet, still running with the old templates. That is what causes the issue in marriage. So you try as much as you can to help that spouse to catch up. Try as much as you can to encourage them. For you that believe in that marriage space, you encourage them, you try to help them to catch up. You can even try and keep moving if they don't disturb your progress, right? But in the event that they begin to drag you down, like that woman said, you are setting me back. Each time I move forward, you are pulling me down. At some point, you would break.
That's the question. I have two questions in my mind now. Number one is, at what point do you break? Because Emmanuel too said it to say, maybe if those people had, more, maybe they will still be there. Maybe. But at what point do you now really say, okay, this is enough? That's one. The other question, and it keeps coming to my head and running away again, is around, okay, let's answer this first, so maybe the question will come back. The question is running from my head. To what point do you now say, okay, so the second question is about increasing knowledge. Isn't it now, can't we now say that marriage was more simple then? Has knowledge actually made it more complicated? Because just as you were saying now, the roles were clearly defined. You go inside there, serve the man, cater to his every need. You don't have a say. I remember that I didn't. I think I saw some houses in my village like that. When they build house, they build the woman's own at the back. Then the man's own is in the front. Then when visitors come, they sit in that front. Only when the woman is invited, she can't just, like my husband's friends came to visit. Then I'll come and sit down where they are gisting. Who am I now? So don't talk until you are told to talk or you are spoken to. That would I say model, was it more simple? Man, provide. Woman, do housework, serve, raise children. Was it a more simpler model than what we are having now? Is the increase in knowledge actually complicating marriage? That's
Fantastic question. First part, at what point did you break? I think no one really has that, will I say, definition or line drawn on the sand for you. Um, each marriage would have to bear the load that it can bear until they get to their breaking point. So I might from outside say, no, I think you guys can still go further. I think you can still this and do that. But if truly that's it for you guys, then it is. You just have to keep looking for solutions. But if you guys can't handle it, what do? You've gotten to your breaking point. Not that that is a great thing, but every human being have limits. We are humans. We have limits. That's really my understanding. I don't. It's vague, true, but I don't think anyone has this. Oh, yes, if you're a Christian, there are criterias in the Bible, but even those criterias, when you really study the scriptures and study the life of Jesus, you would know that he did not make those things actual breaking points. He just responded to religious people's belief about certain things to clarify some questions. Anyway, that's good diving a little bit theologically. Now, the second part of your question, the increase in knowledge factor, it is absolutely true that there is a way things will be really small and so streamlined that it might seem efficient, right? You don't have to think too much. You're only doing two things.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're only doing two things. You only have two responsibilities. But along with the simplicity, likely comes the simple outcome, right? When you look at how they live those days, look at their resources, look at infrastructure, blah, 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 the small way of thinking produced small harvests. And they lived within that. Of course, humans were evolving. So we see things bigger now. Why can't we be a two-income family? If we can do that, why not do that? We are better off. So it's people always challenging the status quo to see, can we do better? That's what causes us to always push ourselves to want to do better. And the mismanagement of this knowledge, where, okay, we are getting better now, but we just don't know how to navigate. It's new territory for a lot of people. What they saw the older folks do, how they saw them do it, it's no longer the way it is. So now you have to challenge yourself to, okay, how do I adapt to this? You adapt, or you then try to force what used to be, which really doesn't work anymore. So that's the problem. I think we should all be looking to get better. Even scripturally, we're supposed to keep going from glory to glory. We're supposed to keep getting better, strive to be better. And if that means changing the way we see these specific gender roles, then let's change them. Let's challenge them. If it will make us better, if it will improve our marriage and improve our circumstance, why not? That's my thought process. I know that may be difficult for maybe those of the older generation to just say these guys are just being young people. But but at the end of the day, we have to always ask why are we doing it now? Let me give you an example. The example you gave, the original concept behind women having their houses behind the houses of men was so that if there is war, if there is danger, the man is in front. So the original word, yes, the original chivalrous idea behind it is that a man is in front protecting his woman.
Compound.
But guess what has happened to that? People have abused that information. So what do? Evolve. Now, is there a different way we can do it? Can we change it? Is there another way we can go about it? And when we find that other way, humans will always be looking for the cheat code. Okay, we're doing it like this now. How can we manipulate the situation? So we have to grow again into what's the next best way. And so we have to keep appreciating education and enlightenment. And if we do that the right way and use it the right way, I think it's only a wonderful tool for our marriages.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I really wanted us to expound on the matter because I felt like this man asking me this question was speaking for a lot of men. This is like, Emmanuel said, even he has thought about it at one time. This is a question that is playing out in the heads of men and even young ones. They are looking at what marriage used to be, what they called stability, which, as far as I'm concerned, is like a false sense of stability. Because if we really deeper, some of these women were not happy.
It didn't work.
It wasn't really working. That's the truth. It produced stability in the sense that, yes, people stayed together for better or worse, or but in the long run, there are a lot of broken pieces, I mean, in the hearts of people, in the lives of people, trauma that they didn't even know existed until many of them died.
Yeah.
They didn't know the reason why they behaved the way they behaved. You understand?
I mean, they raised children like
even
that,
the way they raised the children. Some mothers were very mean, so to speak, in quote, very hard and very
their
harsh.
intention. No, they loved.
They didn't know how to love.
Yes,
because they were not loved.
They had love in their heart. They didn't know how to translate that love.
Good.
So they were so mean, but they didn't intend to be mean.
Yeah.
But that's the best way they knew how.
Because they have not been loved in any other way.
They've not been loved in any other way. They were carrying responsibility that was meant for two people, was now shoved down to them. Some men didn't know how to love, so they were wicked to their kids. They loved because they provided. They worked so hard because responsibility for two people has been shoved to them. So they carried the load alone. So they didn't know how to express these things. So that system wasn't really working. It seemed as if it was working, but it really wasn't working. So a lot of people, it's like two confused people. They just didn't know how to express and raise children the way God intended, So it just wasn't working.
I think even for the companionship of marriage, for the love, and for what marriage in its own self should be. Many of them never enjoyed it.
They didn't.
There are some that from stories I heard, right after childbearing, there was no love making anymore. There was no relationship, man or woman. So this woman went through, well, the man could be getting his thing out there, and as a traditional man, it's now that people are complaining of side chick. Now, side chick was a normal thing. Emmy, why are you laughing? Is it not true? I might not say the truth. As a traditional man, nobody complained of side chicks in those days. It's all part of the education.
That's exactly what it is part of the education, Mama C. And it's the reason why I said we can't go back. It's already out. It's out there. It's how do we work with it? All these descriptions, and if we start breaking down analysis of how things were in the past and maybe how they are now, and perhaps what the ideal should be, you would see that there is absolutely no way of going back. And you will not even advise anyone you love or care about, even your enemy. You would not advise them to go back to living in a certain, just Stone Age way of doing things and living this kind of oppressed life, is as a word to use. No relationship. It's really not marriage, And it's because of education that we now know that this is not marriage. What is this?
Exactly.
This is what's
exactly. You know that Uncle called the woman once in a while to his room, and if she's not called to the room, she can't express herself.
If you have not been sent for, you dare not.
Imagine if something was happening in Auntie's body in her room. She cannot just get up and go to Uncle Like,
What
who
is
called you?
nothing should be happening in your body.
In fact, a woman couldn't make moves at that time.
Yeah.
I know my mom told me that one, that, you know, in those days, you were seen as a loose woman if you were the one making move for love making or making advances for your own husband, though. You know, so there's a lot. When people look at what they think is the one side that has worked in that system, they should also be able to balance it with the things that were not working. This is me now saying, you know, my own idea. There were lots that was packed into the system that was not working. That didn't make it what God intended or what it should be in the beauty of marriage. As far as I'm concerned now, and I was having this conversation with some women in one prayer group of mine about the fact that these days women don't want to be domesticated, they don't want to cook, they don't want to clean, they don't want to have any role, and they don't want to do those domesticated role. And then I said to them, as far as I am concerned, especially if you say you are a Christian woman, service to your family is an act of love. Do you understand what I mean? When you are busy, you know you are busy.
So what you're saying right now is education. You are right now educating to say, hey, this is how it should be. And challenging people to see it that way, to embrace this new way of thinking, that service to your family, this responsibility that is on you, makes you very valuable to the family. They are all leaning on you and trusting in you and confiding their need to you because they believe you have what it takes to be a blessing to them in this regard. See it as a blessing, not a curse, not an insult. That's a certain level of education.
Exactly. It's not demeaning. That's the word I used when I was talking to them. I was like, it's not demeaning to me to have to cook for my family, to have to clean after my family, as long as they're not abusing it. Because sometimes even me, I get to a level where I feel, okay, you should not clean up after yourself now, and I'll just leave it because I'm not seeing them as, you know, purposely just leaving the thing because they know mommy will pick it up. You get what I'm saying? But I don't see that as demeaning for me. I enjoy it. I'm happy to cook and serve it to my husband when I can. When I cannot, because my family know I will joyfully do it. When I cannot, it doesn't become a problem. It doesn't become a point of, oh, she did not cook and serve me. Because I cooked and served you yesterday, but I'm not home today. And that is the place where all the advancement and the changes have come in. Because maybe I would always be there every day to make sure the dinner is always ready at a particular time and table is served and all of that, in the traditional sense of what it used to be. But now I have other things chasing my life that I'm also chasing, which of course all is for the good and the benefit of the entire family. So we come in to support each other at that point. But if you are out there, and I'm saying this now out there as someone who is educated, I think to an extent I can call myself an educated woman. To an extent I can call myself an independent woman, because by the grace of God, I'm very, very sure that if I were not under a man today, I would fend for myself properly by the grace of God. But I still love taking care of my family. It's not demeaning. It doesn't make me less of myself. And then come to think of it, we now have gadgets. When we used to wash with our hands, uncle, you know, I cannot see a situation where, for example, I'm picking up my laundry to wash, and then my husband's laundry is in his basket, and I wouldn't pick it and add it to what I'm washing. Hello? How does that even make you feel better?
You see, that's the challenge. That's the challenge. The education and independence the woman has found, she doesn't fully understand it. She's trying to navigate her way too. You know, it's challenging for the man because the man is feeling, what's all this change happening? And we all don't like change.
Yeah.
You know, but it's also challenging for the woman because she's still trying to navigate her way. You know, just like Emmanuel has said, what you've stated now is a level of education. Some people have not risen to that level of education.
Okay, please rise. Sisters, my beautiful women, I'm always on your side. Please rise and know that what makes you, in fact, it's one of your power. Me, I like to be able to put that food on the table and my family clean the plate. And I feel like, yes, I did well. I made a good meal. Everyone ate and cleaned their plate. There's a sense of satisfaction I get from it. I think that is what we should aim for. We must be winning on all fronts. That's where I'm going. We cannot win only in the boardroom. We cannot win because we are not educated women. We cannot only win in the bank, in our bank accounts and our credits and all the money and everything in the buildings, in the investments. Let's win in all of that. Let's win also in our families. Play your role. Be supportive. Marriage is beautiful. Marriage still works. Marriage can still work if two people are willing to work at it. It's not a matter of education or two illiterates ready to work at their marriage will work. Two educated people ready to work at their marriage, the marriage will work. It is the two of you, like Titi said, say women are still evolving, we're still learning. Please learn and learn well. Don't learn from the bad ones, the ones who will tell you, why are you still cooking? You're still washing clothes at your age, at this level. Even if I become first lady, I will still cook. That's me. And I think that's how we should be. If I need to, I will still cook. And sometimes my husband can cook for me. That's also demean him.
And I was just going to add, based off of your comments, that I think a lot of people get educated generally, but don't get educated in terms of their specific marriage. So you talked about embracing your role and all this and that. This role in reality differs from marriage to marriage. So understanding between you and your spouse, how do we make sure all the pieces are covered? Who is doing what? Understanding that, and then fitting into that, embracing that defined role for whatever it is you guys have defined it to be, based on where you guys are going and how you see your future, and then you work together as a unit to achieve that. And I put that in there because there is the general enlightenment, general education. And a lot of people make the mistake of taking what is generally acceptable or what society is saying and trying to force it down their own marriage. Of course, that now creates problem. Because you now start, no, it won't work for me, even if you think that's how it is done now. So take your education, bring it into your marriage and say, okay, this is our unit. How do we make our unit the best it can be?
Thank you. Especially those who are modeling themselves after social media marriages. Let me tell you, nobody's coming out there to show anybody their bad side on social media. They will not tell you what is going on inside until later, when they now fight. We'll not be hearing that car that woman was displaying that time, that say her husband bought for her, she actually bought it for herself. Have you heard those stories?
Yeah, of course.
So my darlings, the kind of growth and the kind of independence, the kind of education that we seek, the knowledge we seek as women, is to make us bigger, stronger, better, but still be women. Still be a woman. Don't lose your sense of what makes you a woman, a mother, a wife in your marriage. And as Emmanuel has said, fantastic point. Do what works well for you. Understand your partner, how they want to be loved, how they want to be treated. Treat them that way. And don't do things that you know if it's done to you, you will not take it. Don't do it to somebody else. Don't do it to somebody else's child. If you even feel like you want to leave the marriage, don't break somebody before you leave. Some stories I hear these days, I'll be like, really? Why do you have to go to that length? If you want to leave, leave. Don't begin to make, destroy the person, leave the person bitter and broken just because you want to leave. Anyways, may God keep our marriages. And may our relationships be beautiful. May we keep increasing in knowledge. And may we all grow together and be bigger and better. Our time is up and we need to run. I have another program now. I'm late for that. All right. We will see you next week, the first Sunday of December. Now, we are doing a recap in December. We are not doing new shows, actually. We're doing recaps. And if you want a particular show to be repeated, an edition that you really, really like, pop that message through the WhatsApp and tell me Sunday so and so, what's my favorite Sunday. I would like you to play that edition again. So that's what we're doing all through December. We're doing a recap of 2023, some of our favorite scenes and some of our favorite shows. We hope you stay tuned and that you're here again next week, Sunday. Thank you so much, Titi. Thank you, Emmanuel. As usual.
Thank you for saving us, Emmanuel.
Very insightful conversation as usual. I hope you've learned a lot. The best thing you can do for your families, for your friends, for your relatives is to share this video. Please share. Tell somebody about this. One tip or the other here might be helpful to someone else. All right, see you next week. Have a love-filled week, everyone. Love you. Bye.